Here we are in Akron Buzz. I'm your host, Aaron Coleman, and I'm speaking with Mark Williamson, Director of Marketing Communications for Akron Public Schools. First of all, Mark, welcome. Appreciate you taking the time to join me.
Sure, nice to see you. You look great. I haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, nice to see you as well. I haven't seen you in probably a few years or so, but thank you. All right, we'll jump right into it. First 9 weeks, Akron Public Schools will be going online. What resources are there in place for teachers, students, and parents to deal with the unprecedented times here, Mark?
Well, you know, this is not the perfect solution. There is no perfect solution. There are going to be gaps in certain things for certain children. We know this, but you know, with online learning, we're going to offer the same amount of support. Let me say it again. We can offer better support than we did last spring when we did this. It's not going to be the same kind of online learning we did last spring. That came upon us very quickly. You know, the directions that we were getting were kind of all over the road because everybody in the public health, you know, wasn't sure what was going to happen. Some people said right after we closed, we'd be opening in 2 weeks. And, you know, now we look back and we realize that wasn't the case. So we were just kind of doing catch as catch can back then with online learning. And we had a lot of enrichment programs that kids could go online and get, and they could learn some things, but their teachers weren't always necessarily involved. Now we've had time to put together a really good online learning program where teachers can actually go into their classrooms and teach a class online on camera, you know, so that their kids at home can actually be taught by their teacher. Mm-hmm. Teachers can either do that from their classroom or they can do it from somewhere else. They don't have to go into the classroom, but they can if they want to. Okay. We also are going to have time available through the week, every teacher is, so that they have time to work with kids on things they need help with. Because that personal time, when you're just walking down the hall and you run into a teacher and ask them a question, right? They can't do that anymore. So they have to create time in their schedule so that the kids can interact with them outside of the classroom. And that's important. You know, we want our special education students when we have several thousand, are of particular concern to us. And we will try to have as good of an intervention program with them as we can so that our teacher can still communicate with these kids. It's going to probably require more parental support. Online learning does require much more parental support, obviously, than face-to-face learning. And that has a lot of our families concerned that they're not able to do that. And they would rather have their kids in school. But that has its own risks. And, you know, my concern is that if we open school with the size that the schools we have, 45 buildings, it would be a nonstop cascading event of people with fevers and not feeling well, real or imagined, that have to be investigated. And then to keep kids safe, you'd have to send people home, and you'd have to, and you get away from learning. I think the distractions from that would be so significant that it would be a lot harder for kids to learn. Never mind the fact that children could actually get sick and our teachers and staff members could get sick. So we're going to do an aggressive online program that is more rigorous than what we did last year, with more accountability. There will be a schedule that kids have to follow. It's not going to just be an honor system this time.
And parents and students can access this information on not only the school website, but the APS website, correct?
Yeah, and right now the issue is we don't have a curriculum plan approved yet by our board, so we don't have anything to show them. We have created, or we're working on creating, several different options. And so since none of those has been approved yet, we can't tell our families exactly what it's going to look like yet. We're getting close to the wire here. We haven't even approved as of this time when we go back to school. We have a calendar, we have the dates, but I think the board is going to want to look at that and decide whether that's when we're going to restart. We don't even know that yet.
Gotcha. And between not only the Akron Public School Board, Superintendent James, and the state board, you guys really don't have much to go on as far as a timeline for when kids can go back to school. But when that decision is made, do you have any idea what that will look like, having kids in the 45 buildings go back to school?
Well, we're going to do all of the precautions. We had it all set up to go, and the board decided against it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we had a model put together for kids back in the classroom, and part of that model was if you wanted to do online, you could do it. So you could kind of opt out. So we were offering both. And the in school is, you know, we have to have all the safety precautions. We purchased masks, hand sanitizer, about $5 million for masks and hand sanitizer.
Wow.
Can you believe that? That's $5 million we didn't spend last year or the year before or ever on this. And that's right off the bottom line, right? So we're going to have budget issues because of this. We have transportation was way different because of all the protocols for safety. You can't put all those kids on one bus. You have to cut the bus in half essentially, and all the classrooms are cut in half essentially. So some kids would go some days and some kids would go other days, and parents that had like 3 kids and different grade levels were like going crazy. Mm-hmm. As I said at the beginning, every solution is as good as it can be. It's far from perfect because pretty much everything is inconvenient now. I mean, not just with school. Everything has become less convenient than it was before this happened. Pretty much everything we do. And school is just a giant institution that requires, because we care for children, just an entirely different level of attention to detail. People said, how are you going to make kids wear a mask? How are you going to keep little kids, how are they going to keep the mask on their face? You know, and you have to change it twice a day or 3 times a day, or, you know, all these little things that don't have anything to do with learning. You know, I mean, our teachers and staff members and our administrators are focused on safety precautions, health concerns, and learning. Whereas a year ago, we were focused on safety and health and learning, but totally different. You know, I mean, we would worry about the flu, you know, we would deal with that, but we didn't have anything, obviously, that was as mind-bending as this.
Yeah, certainly. And, you know, learning, being at the forefront, obviously, for not only your district, but all the other districts as well. Since March, Mark, what have you learned about the teachers, administrators, and other people involved with Akron Public Schools, and just how they've been able to kind of not only keep the focus of learning, but also keep the focus on health and everything, you know, and just how they've kind of evolved as professionals since then? Like, you know, what can you say about these men?
That's a great question. I mean, that's a really good question. To be a superintendent of a school district right now, I mean, it's already one of the toughest jobs in America, mm-hmm. especially for urban areas, you know, and funding in Ohio is what it is. It's just, you have to keep your eye on so many different things when you're the superintendent. Now you have to keep your eye on all those things and this changes pretty regularly. One day we're told this, one day wear a mask, don't wear a mask, wear a shield, don't wear goggles and a shield, you know, drink bleach. I don't know. There's all these things. And if you're the superintendent, you don't sleep at night because you're worried about every eventuality, every possible eventuality. You're just, you know, we have 2,000 homeless kids. 2,000 homeless kids. We worry about them. Yeah, out of 21,000, 10% experience homelessness during the course of a year. We have to take care of those children too. Mm-hmm. And David James, he worries about every child. He does. I mean, if you're a good superintendent, that's what you do. So to work through this and stay positive And Ellen McWilliams, our chief academic officer and deputy superintendent, this is brilliant. These people are brilliant. And the work they've done is, and they don't get credit, they don't want credit. But the public has no idea the level, the conscious level of caring, thoughtfulness, and expertise that these people have. Our business manager, Deborah Folk, has looked at absolutely every federal, state, local health regulation, how big the plexiglass can be, and what, we have security people like Dan Ramler that are still concerned about, kids in attendance and truancy and accountability and all these other things. We keep doing that, but we've layered in this incredibly big variable now. And I've seen our people just do remarkable things. They're just remarkable. And I think the public, the public, for a lot of reasons, just kind of minimizes all of this. They don't really get it. There's a lot of criticism when you look at social media, which there is for pretty much everything nowadays. But
right,
the criticism for pretty much no matter what we do, I think, wow, we just spent months with some of the smartest people I've ever met working on something that's thoughtful and directed toward 21,000 children to be safe, happy, and well. And we're getting this from the public. But that's sort of the nature of working in the public, public sector. But people have designed our technology people. We've made sure that every child has a computer. We've made sure that every family has a wireless hotspot if they don't have internet access. And there are, I think, 1,500 of those. Those are really expensive. And we figured out a way, and we have generous partners in the community that have helped us with some of the costs on things. We've worked every relationship we have to try to make this more affordable, because our budget, we were talking about a school levy this year before this happened, because we're in deficit spending right now. And now on top of deficit spending, we get this, which is going to add, well, just the masks alone, right? It's $5 million. Right. So we're going to be adding an incredible amount to our bottom line of expenditures. And one other thing I'll say, when you ask about what do I see, our food service people have made now more than 700,000 meals, made, packaged carefully, and distributed 700,000 meals since the middle of March when this started. They're still doing it today. We're going to do it all the way to the end of August, and whenever school starts, we're going to do it again. 700,000 meals. That's incredible. And they stand out in front of schools every single day, Monday through Thursday. Thursday you get 2 meals. Every day they stand out there with bags, and people drive up and they give them food. Since the middle of March, rain, doesn't matter. This is what they do. These are great people. This is like, and we don't have and you're going to understand it when I say this. So we don't have a great media presence in Akron anymore. We just don't. Mm-hmm. We don't have really good coverage of what's going on in Akron. We have some, but we don't have as much as we used to have. And these are stories that are remarkable. The people that invest in our schools, our taxpayers, the people that pass the levies, support us. We really want them to know, how hard we're working and how this investment that they're making is paying off for children. Still, it's not perfect. There will be problems. There are going to be kids that fall through the cracks. It's just, and we have to really rely on families and parents to kind of pick up and do a little bit more, but a lot of them just can't do it.
Right. And Mark, this is the purpose of doing an interview like this, so that people get the information. Yep. And people have access to understand what exactly their school district is doing. Mark Williamson, Director of Marketing Communication for Akron Public Schools, thank you so much for joining me here this afternoon. I certainly appreciate it. And if there is any sort of update as to what the district will be doing, we'll be in touch.
All right, Aaron. Thank you very much for the time. We appreciate it.